All right, giddy up. We're right back at it. 24 hours later, Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jake the Snake Schultz all with you for the next 2 hours. It just feels like 5 minutes ago we're talking about Mitch Marner. And
we sure did.
I got to tell you something. Quite the reaction out there.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's seems to be like a real sensitive discussion amongst Leaf Nation.
It does.
But did we take it to another level yesterday?
I think we may have given it a little bit of rocket fuel.
Because I got a few people saying, I get your point of view. And I got a few people telling me you're on drugs.
Yeah. I also was told that I am the dumbest person in the world, and also that people agree. So
and you're back on drugs.
Yes, and I. So
no,
none of that.
None of that.
So that's we. I think that's how you know that we found the tipping point of that.
We found the topic of discussion. This week.
That's the chat at the bar. That's for sure.
I had been mentioning earlier in the season that no one had been talking about the Marner conversation. That we, had been quiet. We made it unquiet, I think.
That's great.
We got the people going a little bit. I would say I got more messages about that segment of radio than my whole life doing this.
And it can be quiet for a little while, but it's not going anywhere.
No.
It's there, and it will remain there until either he signs or he walks out the door July 1st.
As you said in our conversation earlier today, that's not the last time we're going to talk about that.
No.
And this is what's perfect about it. This is why it's an incredible sports talk radio topic, because the end off of my poll yesterday with the three options of let's just sign him, let's see playoffs, let him walk. 45% for just sign him, 45% for let's see playoffs, 10% for let him walk.
Wow.
So it's like all in balance. Like that's why there's people on both sides of it. It's the perfect debate, which I'm sure we'll have again.
Well, wherever you're watching and listening, we're glad you're aboard. Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, or Sportsnet Plus. No Marner talk to start off, although technically we did. But the hottest topic right now, Auston Matthews, Elliot Friedman on Sportsnet.ca had the story. Sammy, you have
yes, Kyper,
been very clear that you've not liked this from day one.
Yes.
No, sir.
And
I
think the news out there that he is in Germany, Munich, Germany, receiving treatment from a doctor he's worked with in the past is not making you feel real good right now.
Let's just listen to Brad Treliving's update on Auston Matthews. It's about a minute and 11 clip here, so bear with him. But this is the update on Auston Matthews from Brad Treliving.
Auston, an update on Auston. We haven't been trying to be cryptic with all this stuff. We've been calling him day to day because that's what he's been. He has, we've looked at the schedule here, and what we're trying to do is use this week to hopefully get this thing behind him. As part of that, he and our doc foreman went over to Germany to see a doc that he's used in the past, more as a general checkup, but also to get some work done on his thing. It's not alarming. It was something we've been discussing, knowing that he's going to be getting this week. But we're hopeful that once we get through the week here, he'll be back up and skating, and his return to play would be after that. So, again, nothing new. There's been no setbacks. Everything's been actually going quite well. We're just trying to use the days that we've got here with less games being played to just try to get this behind us.
See, Sammy, there's nothing to worry about. Nothing.
What is
Go
this?
have a coffee.
What
relax,
is this?
Put your feet up.
What is this? What are we doing?
You tell me.
Why? Why? He's flying. He's taking an intercontinental flight, cross an ocean because it's all fine. Why are they lying to us? It's the most infuriating thing ever.
It's more of a general checkup.
Oh, it's a general checkup with Dr. Stem Cell? Like, what's going on here?
Everything's great.
This is just,
Yeah.
It is.
It's concerning.
It's now gone from day to day to flying to Germany. Stop lying.
It is.
Stop lying.
It is rather interesting that he left.
Say that again.
He left Sunday morning, caught a commercial flight,
Is that right?
and this
Off commercial flight? Really? And no one saw him?
and nothing till Tuesday.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Traveled
So
there.
how did they get between Sunday morning and Tuesday when it came out?
I don't know how they pulled that off. Congratulations on that little bit of, secrecy. But, I would say that when there's not a human on your continent that can deal with the issue well enough, you're getting into real problems and concerns. The idea that it's someone he's seen before does make me think back. He's had back stuff before. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Whatever it is, let's assume it's a back.
Yeah.
It's spasms. It's not healing. It's not getting to the place that he needs to go. And yeah, maybe you go back to somewhere that might have helped you in the past. If that's Germany, that's Germany. Now, he was in Germany this summer, was he not? With Connor McDavid?
I don't know. Was he?
Not sure.
Weren't they on the ice together?
Yeah, I don't know if that was in Germany, was it?
I would say
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
the thing that stands out to me is let's say you're on a plane and all the what are those masks drop from up above. The type of thing you hear is nobody panic, it's okay, everything's fine, just stay calm. That very much is the message here, where it feels like the masks have dropped and the team is like, nothing to see here, everyone remain calm, it's going to be fine. I would say we are now at the point where it's weeks into it. You're going to Germany. We're getting into this could be a problem. This could be someone texted me, might have even been you. Do we have Austin Kucherov now? Can we dress this LTIR him and dress him in April? Maybe we can, trade for Crosby and get him, get Austin back for playoffs.
I think that the way that you've handled this, and it just feels like Austin's representation has like a pistol in the back of Brad Trillin being like, say it's fine, say it's fine, say it's all fine. He's like, it is fine, it's fine. It's just, if you had just been more forthright from the start that it's a longer term thing, that he's gonna miss a little bit of while, but to have the coach go out in front of everybody and be like, it's a day-to-day thing. We'll see you after the weekend. We'll see you after the thing. And then,
but I do believe that could be true.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. And now I'm at the point where he's taken a 8-hour flight to go see somebody.
There's-
Past the point of believing
Yeah.
it.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. And if it is a bad back or a stiff back, you can wake up eventually one day and it can be better.
Yeah,
So I'm with you that
needs a new mattress.
when they say day to day, they wait for Austin to come to them and say it's no longer an issue.
Mhm.
And Austin didn't do that. So does it turn into something that can be alleviated with some treatment, muscle related, disc related?
Yeah,
It can. Yeah.
well, that's the thing.
It can end up being something a lot more serious, a lot more severe, but
Yeah.
they don't know. They don't know right
he is
now.
not a
Nobody
guy
knows.
who doesn't want to play. You look at his games played over the years, he wants to play. And so the concern, I agree, Kip, is that, you talk about discs and all this kind of stuff, that it isn't getting better. And we don't know. We're just, throwing stuff at the wall here, but that it isn't getting better. You're going to see someone who apparently can do something that
Yeah.
can't be done here. So all of a sudden that's why I would say this has been elevated. But they did set a pretty close deadline for when they expect him to skate and play. So we're going to very quickly have an answer for just how serious this is.
Yeah, they mentioned the potential of Sunday, and it's, flight to Germany to see a specialist and playing Sunday don't seem to be in the same conversation for
No,
me.
that is very strange to me. Very strange.
you know,
Go to see a specialist, might play
he
Sunday.
said maybe Sunday, and then maybe we'll look at the weekend against the Panthers or whatever.
I'd say it's highly unlikely
I bet
as well.
anything he's not playing Sunday.
No.
There's no chance he's playing Sunday.
No. So
And if he is, then hey, I mean,
Good on the doctor.
whatever magic he's
Right?
got. Can he go see Ovi's
Oh,
doctor? That guy
kidding.
can.
yeah.
Forget it. That. Like, three of
Yeah.
us should get over there.
Yeah.
I could use some straightening out.
No kidding.
I think it's going to build up another interesting conversation. I don't know if you guys have thought of this, but there is what both of you guys sort of think is a meaningless hockey tournament in the middle of this hockey season. The Four Nations face-off, which he is the face of probably the favorite team in the tournament. And it's like, what sort of impact is this going to have where he desperately wants to play in that probably? There hasn't been the best-on-best thing. The Leafs, you're flying to Germany, you're missing a month of the season, you've got a whatever issue that's clearly serious enough for this.
Well, let's just say right now, that spot's in jeopardy.
For sure. How can it not be? Like, if he's fighting through something and then goes and plays there, Leaf fans are going to be livid.
We have had
Livid.
years, and
Well,
I
it's
think
not good.
we all sat here at the end of last season watching the chase for 70 goals. Let's not mince words. He played his heart out those last 2 games of the year, which were not all that meaningful trying to get 70.
That was some of my least favorite moments in
And
my
he
Leaf fandom ever
smashed
watching
into the
those
boards
games.
on that
Yes.
one play. My point, Kip, is that Leafs fans don't want to see the pursuit of something else that doesn't matter get in the way of what is supposed to be the greater goal here for this team.
And we have arguably the biggest Leaf fan ever in the history
Who?
of Leafs. You.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I'm up there.
Okay. You're up there.
I'm in the top
And you're
million
telling
for
me
sure.
his 69 goals was one of your least favorite moments.
chase.
The chase.
few
The
games.
chase.
The chase was
How
a joke.
sad is that?
Well, it was the way it was handled. It was a joke.
I think, for someone who pays as close attention as all of us, we know that playoffs were all that mattered. And that's kind of was the vibe at the time. And
So I think it's going to be really interesting to see, first of all, how long it takes for him to get back here, how he's playing, and what they do with that Four Nations face-off. Because, they're naming teams December 2nd. It's in – I hope that he doesn't
they're going to name him.
– of course, they're naming him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm just hoping
And then you
Oh,
cross
he's
your
actually
fingers.
been named, hasn't he?
yeah, he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
So anyways, I not thrilled today. Not thrilled.
Equally distressing, David Kämpf is hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the IR.
Yeah, on the IR, also secretive. Also, although this one seems to be lower body,
Lower body.
and so it seems not like an emergency. He may play Sunday.
Let's get thoughts on Kyper's Clippers with Craig Berube on David Kämpf and Minten.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, no, he's done a great job for us with penalty kill and situations, and yeah, we'll miss him. Minten's up here though, smart player. He was playing well in the minors, and I think he's the right guy up here right now.
The sense is it's nothing specific happened the other night.
With Kämpf?
Yeah, with Kämpf.
That's great.
Well, I'm just saying it sounds like more kind of an ongoing thing that he's been battling.
That's so much worse.
When's his flight to Czechia?
No.
God.
He's got to go.
We'll find out about it midweek out of the
Antarctica.
blue, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's also been a very hard camp. And
Oh, I
it's
see
like
where you're
some
going here.
wear and tear.
I see where you're going. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You know what's
Like
interesting,
some of
though?
them are paying a price right now because Craig Berube has leaned on him from day one
This is what everyone wanted.
in a program or a system that was not accustomed for that type. So there have been a few casualties.
It's interesting. Like Matthews, though, his hits per game and takeaways in the early part of the season were way, way down right away. I don't think he was. I don't know how early or how long it's been bothering him for, but certainly seems coming out of camp that he was.
Yeah. Do they measure those in practice too? Because I heard a lot of one-on-one drills and a lot of physical
Throw a puck
activity.
in the corner down low for a little 2-on-2.
That's coming though. All the analytics in practice.
Well, they have stuff. They
They do, yeah,
they
you're
wear
right.
Those sports bras and they measure heart rates and supposed to be able to tell that who is on the verge of injury and who's not able to push with as much force. They're measuring these guys.
Anywhere
we're
else
never
you want to
getting the
go?
data, I can
You
tell you
guys,
that.
listen, Minten's interesting to me because he did not get a full camp because of the injury. He comes back, kind of from everything you hear, it may have picked up where he kind of left off a little bit.
You think they're real happy with him?
Yeah, there's no question that he would not be up here if they were not really happy with him. So there is a sense that the Leafs are looking or shopping or at least projecting that they will need a centerman down the road.
Right.
Could this guy be an answer possibly?
I'm going to go ahead and give you my playoff answer, which is no. And I have seen Fraser Minten, full disclosure, plays 0 minutes of hockey this year, but he would have to be so good for me to think that the Leafs could have a rookie center in their bottom six, handling big minutes, finishing checks, killing penalties. Am I out over my skis on that one? Am I going too far?
The way the league's built right now, I don't think you're way off on your skis. I think I agree with you in it's not probable.
Yeah.
But
Give me a 5% chance. How about that?
I get the thought that like we got to know for sure what we have
Yeah.
internally before we start looking on the outside.
You know, the NHL slows down a little bit into the season. Like the first 10 games, everyone's shot out of a cannon, trying to impress their coach. And all of a sudden people start to get hurt, things settle in, and the league slows a little. And you have stretches of plays where guys like McMahon score 7 times in 5 games and Holmberg has it happens. It wouldn't shock me to see Minten have a run of games in the next month or two where you're like, ooh, they have something here. They have a future player. This is a great player. I'm skeptical that he's the end-of-year solution. Not saying he's not a solution for them. Just saying I'm skeptical he's a playoff performer for them this year.
Once that calendar gets past mid-April,
All
the
of a sudden,
games
everyone makes
tighten
their
up and
deadline
get a little
deals. And
getting a little heavier in that first round of that playoffs, and you start worrying. So I saw this tweet from Kyle Cushman, who does some Marlies coverage, said that Fraser Minten has won his 5-on-5 minutes 6-2 and has a Marlies high 4.25 shots per game. Been really good coming back from injury and a deserved recall. So he's been good.
that's great.
He's been playing well at the Marlies level.
Leading in shots per game is wonderful.
So
In about 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by Jason Bukala, of course, does a terrific job on our show. He's Pro Hockey Group and Sportsnet's analyst, former NHL scout. He's going to give us his rundown of Fraser Minten and where he fits in, maybe short term or potentially long term as well. Now, not to rehash our Mitch Marner conversation from yesterday because I'm still catching my breath.
let's just do it in a different light today.
Okay. So you've heard me over a long stretch of time
Yeah.
about how I thought Mitch could easily become a centerman.
Yeah.
And much like all my takes on Mitch Marner, you guys roll your eyes.
No,
I
this is
agree
not
on this
true.
one.
This is not true.
I agree on this one.
I agree too.
Run the tape.
Did ya?
I agree that he
both
can play
agree on
center.
this, okay.
I don't even know anymore. I can't even keep track. So our boy Sammy
Yeah.
sends a note to Luke Fox,
I texted our boy Luke.
and you said, get on this because this conversation does not disappear on our show unless we get more from it.
And I will say, this is like, I get a lot of DMs from people. The Marner center conversation is a very popular DM that I get a lot, and fans always talk about. Like
People want to see it.
it's a very hot topic in Leafs Nation with him, especially with their center depth. So our boy Luke asked him, would you like to hear the clip?
I would love to hear it.
Okay, clip
How
3.
seriously, if at all, have you thought about trying Mitch Marner at center?
I talked to Mitch the other day about it, actually. He said, no problem, whatever you want. He's smart enough for sure. Yeah, and like I know he's played some D here too in the past, so I think he can play all positions. But no, it's definitely an option if we need it. I think he's a guy that can go in there and understand the positioning and what to do. I guess, you have to worry about face-offs a little bit and things like that. But he's definitely a guy that we can use there for sure.
Huh.
I got to think if Austin's out for a prolonged period of time, like, why not? Why not? Like, you got Tavares, you got still Max. Why not throw Mitch in the middle on a few different looks.
Listen, go ahead and run Tavares, Matthews, and Marner and Nylander. Yes,
Some non-Leafs breaking news.
I thought so.
But the Boston Bruins announced just now that Jim Montgomery has been fired and Joe Sacco will assume the interim head coaching duties. So there you go. So a Atlantic Division rival, feeling the heat of their bad start, has fired their head coach. So there you go.
Okay, we'll pick up on the
Yep.
Boston Bruins a little later on in the show.
National Hour.
Yeah. But in the meantime, where would you have him slotted?
Well, I would like to see. I want to see Nylander play center too. Has he played center in a game yet? Like all this preseason hype. Like have they given him a game? So I'd like to see both of them have some run, have some opportunity to play center, and see if one of them takes to it. Now we don't worry about Mitch Marner in the D zone positioning, effort, any of those.
Because he
things.
looks like a centerman, anyways, most often than not.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
But-
The concerns are twofold: is battling big centers low, but also face-offs, as he mentioned. He's won one of his 7 draws this year, and he's 44% career.
How many has he
face-offs.
taken? Is it? you
It's
have
got to
any
be
news?
50 or something over the course of a career, wouldn't you think?
Yeah,
Like
but
that.
I look down the center depth without Auston Matthews
And David Kämpf.
and David Kämpf. I'm like, wow, he's probably the second best center on this team.
He for sure. Yeah,
Like,
who's
it's Domi is second line center. It's like you're not going to slot Marner in there.
I
And
gotta
it's going
tell
to
you,
be
I feel
immediately better.
10 times better about Marner at center in the D zone over Max Domi.
Yeah, and you slide Domi out to the wing, and you
Yeah.
feel better about it. So I don't know. Now that it's been asked, and now that it's kind of a conversation, I bet we see it. And he's got more of the centers, like you've always talked about. He's got more of the center skill set than Nylander does. So
Listen,
just do it.
I've seldom seen a team that could have their essentially 2 best players play the positions but act like each other once the puck's dropped, meaning that
Yeah.
Austin looks every bit of a scoring winger,
I see.
and Mitch looks every bit of a playmaking centerman once the puck is dropped.
I mean, Austin is one of the best defensive centers in the NHL. Like, full stop, no wavering on that. He was. It was him, Barkov, and Stahl, finalists last year for the Selke Trophy.
I would hear that conversation more in the offensive zone. In the offensive zone, I think Mitch is much more the center than Austin is because he passes more to Austin, he defers more to Austin, that kind of thing. But I think they're like both really good defensively, and when they're out there together,
To be fair, you're right.
Yeah, he's
but
good.
Offensively,
Yeah.
it's the playmaking of Mitch and then the shooting of Austin. But
actually,
I believe that once the puck's dropped, there's no such thing as a typical left wing or centerman. It's fill the lanes, and most often than not,
First
Mitch,
guy back plays low.
But and Mitch is usually that guy. He's usually the third man high. It's not Austin.
then let me ask, and I'm not trying to be, sarcastic. Then why? Why put him at center? Why risk him losing draws? Why, like, if he's just as good already defensively as a winger?
Yeah, I think that's a
then
fair
just
point.
why? I don't like
If he's already doing
I
it.
don't know. Like
just say he did it.
is-
I don't know.
Could Austin's back be potentially bothering him because of
Draws.
draws, wear and tear draws, or I mean, I'm just speculating here, but
Yeah.
if he comes back, maybe you start him on the wing.
But if he's a center, he's going to be making 16 mil.
I mean, he's not coming back. if he's coming back, Matthews, and he can only play wing and not take draws, he should not come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think for once, the Leafs should be the Vegas Golden Knights. And he comes back, he plays.
buddy, it's November 19th.
Yeah,
I was
come back.
joking.
I'm not. Come back, play for a month. Say your back's still bugging you. Take it the rest of the year off. Get
I
perfect,
don't hate
and then
the idea of getting
come
to
back
the
and
end of
start the
February,
playoffs.
having a chat with Tavares and Matthews and saying, how's everyone doing?
How's the back feeling? Got to go to Germany again?
Yeah.
Here's beautiful at Christmas time.
Yeah. Let's see if we can
It seemed to be the last team to try any of
to
that.
really go for it like
Go
that.
wow,
And
they-
they're going to close this loophole. Like,
You
there's
know,
already clamoring
buddy,
about what?
If the Leafs did it, Gary's with his SWAT team kicking down the door of the Ford Performance
Just
Center.
swinging
Be like,
into Scotiabank Arena.
boo, boo. We're getting ya. Like, if the Leafs did that, if the Leafs
Tree living's like
It's over.
if the Leafs did the Vegas move this year
Yeah.
in the new CBA, closed, done immediately,
Hey.
and there's
I think
no
that's
question.
happening anyway.
could have a Stanley Cup by then.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
I like the idea. I heard Brian Burke the other day talk about how, and someone else is suggesting that it's fine to exceed the salary cap in playoffs, but you can't dress an 18-man roster, 18 skaters, 2 goalies, 20-man roster that exceeds the salary cap. That in itself is silly, right? Like, you shouldn't be able to have $100 million worth of players that you can dress at once.
But when you can, do it.
What do you have on Berube talking about Mitch and Auston together?
It was just something interesting that they were talking about him shooting more. And then this was one of the follow-ups, one of the questions. And I thought it was an interesting clip that kind of is in our wheelhouse. So clip 4, please.
It could be. I think, anybody who plays with Austin is probably looking for him a little bit more than normal.
Yeah.
And probably too much at times, in my opinion. But he's looking for JT too, who's the scorer, right? So in the end, you make plays that are there, and when you have opportunities in good areas to shoot, you should shoot.
To me, when Matthews comes back, they don't play together.
Yeah.
I've just seen too much good from Mitch without him.
But
And it's
we've done that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the ways they've tried to change things up.
I guess.
You like Austin and Willie?
No, I don't.
I just think they should be on 3 lines. I really do. One strange thing is that with Matthews out, Marner's shots have not gone up at all. And in fact, gone down and near the bottom of the team. 6 shots more at 5-on-5 than Pacioretty this season, who has 130 fewer minutes. That's a Siegel thing.
Really?
So, he's obviously producing. He's doing it different ways, but I don't know. I think you could have him on 3 lines and everyone would be just fine. And the team's probably better for it.
But would Nylander be playing third line center? Or
Yeah,
would in your ideal world?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's the option. But I mean, it's like third line is what? These guys get thrown out there.
Max
the
and
second they need
Willie.
a goal.
Either Max is on the wing with Willie,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
You're right. And then that's like kind of a middle 6, and you interchange them as you need. But all right, we should.
Hold on.
Oh,
I got a little read for you guys.
Okay.
Second day in a row. I'm going to try to nail this. So please bear with me, okay? Who wants to win a bunch of cash while doing the best thing this holiday season? It's Sportsnet 590 The Fans 50-50 fortune supporting food for kids. And here's what you need to know. We've created a 50-50 lottery where the more money we raise, the more kids we can feed in the GTA, and the more we can win. The current take-home prize is, let me check the website, $67,160. Someone is going to win that jackpot on Thursday, December 19th. And if you get your tickets early, there are a bunch of amazing early bird prizes, including a pair of tickets to see Taylor Swift, the Eras
Wow.
Tour, this Saturday night, courtesy of Rogers, our beloved Rogers. Get your tickets by Friday at 9 a.m. for the chance to win. For more details and to buy your tickets, go to foodforkids5050.ca or text the word cash to 590-590 and we'll send the link right to your phone. It's the 50-50 fortune supporting Food for Kids. Standard message and date rates apply. Ontario only.
Good job, Rogers. Good job, Sammy.
Thank you.
Good job, Sammy.
That's pretty good.
We'll
Pretty
take
good
a quick-
prize.
Yeah, that's not too shabby.
We'll take a quick break when we return. Jason Bukala. And then at the top of the hour, it's Tuesday, Steve Valiquette, analyst with the New York Rangers on MSG and CEO of Clear Site Analytics. That's what he does for me and JB. He clears our site.
Yeah, and he does our job.
Does our job. More when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. You guys ready?
No, we're debating. Oh my God! I
Oh my
almost.
God.
What are you guys debating?
We're debating whether if Boston got one more point last year and Florida played Toronto in the first round and swept Toronto, if they would have blown up the core at that point.
Wow.
That's what we
Just
do
a
in the
small
breaks.
chit chat.
You guys are the master debaters, that's for sure. All right.
Hey now.
Let's go to Jason Bukala, Pro Hockey Group, Sportsnet, former NHL scout. Give us all the goods now that, first of all, you ever been to Germany before for anything?
Yeah, just once or twice.
Spent most of his time in
What were you
Amsterdam,
getting
actually.
fixed?
I wasn't getting anything fixed, but after a few scouting extravaganzas over there, I probably needed to get fixed up a little bit, if you get my drift. So I've been there.
Couple of
I've been
tough
there.
Oktoberfests.
So
Couple of yeah.
lots of
Yeah, it's Oktoberfest year round over there, unfortunately.
listen, between Matthews and David Kämpf not in the lineup, like plenty of opportunity down the middle of the ice for players to state their claim as a centerman right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Minten's going to get a chance here. Nice little 5-game set in the American League. 2 goals, 3 assists, used in all situations. Really like them, to be honest with you guys. One of the things I noticed when I broke down his segment was how much quicker he is in small areas. So like on the penalty kill, if he's working up top and he's got to pounce on the half wall, he's got an extra little bit of dart to him there, and he's getting there quicker. So it's not just like step out and use your reach. It's actually stepping out and fronting it, which is obviously really beneficial, because I don't think he's a 3 at his ceiling. So he's going to have to do really good things defensively for me. And I'll be curious to see what he does in the face-off dot when he gets the opportunity. Steves can play in the middle too if they want to insert him into the lineup. Steves is another interesting guy that I think has got a lot of upside and can be a Swiss Army knife for the group. So yeah, there's some opportunity there, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue this trend. I read something today about maybe moving Marner to the middle, but please do not split up that line. I mean, Tavares, Marner, McMahon, that's going, and I don't want to see that broken up right now.
So what's the long-term forecast for Minten to be a contributor? We kind of opened our show with the question, could he be a playoff player for the Leafs this season? Yeah, I know that sounds a little desperate, but they are a little desperate.
Yeah. Ideally not, I would say. Ideally not for where they want to go as a team, like what their aspirations are. But depending on where they're going with their cap, I really like Dewar. I think Dewar can bring some energy. He gets to the hard areas, plays with pace, and gets involved. That might open up if Kämpf is healthy or somebody else is healthy, some movement there where you can move a guy out and perhaps upgrade in the middle of the ice, Borny. But long term, you remember when Nyes arrived on the scene from Minnesota a couple years ago, University of Minnesota. I don't even know if Minten can do that offensively, but he can certainly, he's got the brain and the body to play in the bottom of the lineup. I'll put it to you that way.
It's just when you're talking about a team that has to compete for the Stanley Cup or even think that they can win it, it is rolling the dice with these kids, if not giving them the opportunity. Or it's one thing to give them an opportunity between November and the trade deadline, but it's another one to say, yeah, we're going to go with them. And then it lends towards finding help from the outside, correct?
Absolutely. You look at, I know you brought it up, Kyper, a couple of weeks ago, the Brock Nelson type of player. Like, that's the ultimate at $6 million. How do you make it fit? The Islanders are in the mix, but the Metro's tough. And I don't know what's going to happen as things playing out there in the wild card, but he's in his last year. You know how Lou is on the island with his guys, though. He likes to extend them and keep them forever, it seems. He's got, but what I'm saying to you is that's the kind of player that I'm interested in. God, can I even throw a Nazem Kadri into the mix, just as a talking point here? The money's too much, but you understand where I'm going with it. So it's going to be too heavy a lift. Right now, the Minten's going to get a taste. 5-game sample in the American League is a nice little start, but it's a segment. That's all it is. So I'm not getting too high or too low. Let's see how he does when he arrives. But long term, after Christmas, everybody knows January, February, March, how hard the games get. And this team is going to be jockeying to maintain home ice advantage, I think, in the first round in the Atlantic. That's my guess. And we'll just see how it all plays out. But I'm not counting on these younger guys to be the difference makers come April.
Just before we move on and talk about some other guys around the league, couple of Marlies questions for you. Have you got any thoughts on Nikita Grebyonkin or Marshall Rafai, who are kind of two names that stood out for me watching training camp this year?
Grebyonkin's been really good for me.
Yeah.
So Steves, Grebyonkin, Steves, Grebyonkin, and Minten were playing together quite a bit lately, and he's been. You remember him in training camp? He's surprised with a little bit of pushback and drop the flippers in one night. He's not going to do that, but he was getting involved. He's been up to task. He's right at the top of the table there, scoring wise with the Marlies. He's involved. He's on the plus side of the ledger. I really like how his trajectory is playing out. And he'd be the next guy up, kind of for me, to be honest with you. If a winger went down, or if they wanted to sneak somebody through waivers, for an example. Rafai, he's another guy that. For me personally, it's a nice to have, not a need to have, as the team planes out in the back half of the season. Perhaps there's some value there outside the organization. Maybe it's a depth if you're going to go on a long run in playoffs, you're going to need a lot of depth at that position. Obviously, you're going to usually Stanley Cup contending teams go 8 deep defenseman wise come playoff time. His style of play, not sure that that's exactly a great fit, but that's just to be determined. We'll see how it goes.
We're talking to Jason Bukala, former NHL scout, now Pro Hockey Group and analyst for Sportsnet. So, Books, it didn't seem that far ago. We were talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we're also mentioning that the cupboards are fairly empty. And where are we today with some of the names that you mentioned and the stocking up?
Well, it's still relatively empty. Like they don't have a huge selection of guys on recall right now. But the good news is that the ones that they do have, the Mintens, the Grebyonkin, says I screw up his name here. These guys their trajectory is positive. So they're buying into the player development model. So when they were delivered to player development, whatever the message was and whatever's going on, they're buying in. That's a real positive. On the back end, though, Kyper, if something, they're stockpiled on the top end right now. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Hakanpää. He looks like he can skate, but I'm not so sure long term. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, they've got some veteran guys that they might be able to sneak around, up and down. That is, and from the minors, but they're thin on the back end as well. Cowan's on a run. Cowan's 51 games deep in the CHL. He's a week away from breaking the all-time scoring, consecutive games scoring, the Joe DiMaggio, if you will, of consecutive scoring at the CHL level.
How many games?
51 games with a point. 51 straight games. Yeah,
good Lord.
54 is the record, I think. He breaks it at 55, something like that. So he's a week and a half away from that. That's positive as well. Hildeby's a nice story, right? Down in the minors, but like we're talking about 4 or 5 guys. It's going to take some time here for Tree and his group to restock the cupboards there, but that's not where we are right now. Like, we're not in that cycle. We got to obviously acquire some draft capital when we can to take a swing at the plate, but they're in win now mode, which is, they're not relying on that underbelly so much, but it certainly would be nice to have more than a couple of choices, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would be nice for the prospects that are on the team, like a Robertson type of guy, to chip in a little bit.
Well, that ship has sailed for me, guys. I'm sure you guys, I haven't, like it's enough already. I like the energy. I like to compete. It's such a delicate, it's a tightrope. Like his value. Remember we talked about it, end of summer, no value, no leverage for contract. And then you get into the preseason, great preseason. But it's preseason games. Some night there's 8 or 9 guys on your opponent. You have to dress a minimum of 8 vets in a game, whatever that's worth. Okay, so he goes off in the preseason, but now it's a depressed value all over again. What are you going to do with that?
Just for the record, I only ask you about like stocking the cupboards, not as help coming up, but potential trade pieces.
Yeah. Who can we unload for value? We're selling the copper wiring here.
Are they more in demand than they were 2 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago?
6'2", 210. He's got 10 points.
Yeah. The problem with trading out the Leafs assets is that the guys that they probably want to move, they've got 3 or 4 of the exact same player. So if you're going to move Hirvonen, if you're going to move Robertson, if you're going to move Niemela, I'm just spitballing through their roster here. I don't know where the value is really. Like, you're going to hopefully move an NHL guy, maybe a Kämpf. I don't know if I'm buying on the other side of the fence. Here's the problem. I'm not loving what I'm getting back in return, and you don't have a lot of draft capital. So that's what I mean by them being in a tough spot. It's now if you float Easton Cowan out there or Fraser Minten out there, like if you want to go down that road, then yeah, you're gonna get a player in return that's gonna have short-term value, and but you're gonna give up something that you already don't have much of. But I guess that's part of the risk. If you think you're gonna win it, go for it. Put all your cards in the middle.
Would you trade Cowan?
That's a topic for another day. I think.
Remember we had this same talk? Remember we had this talk about Nyes a year and a half
Yes,
ago?
I
we
do.
did. Yes, we
The
did.
three of us were sitting there. We
Yes.
could trade Nyes. And,
One of
you know,
the great responses I've got from Kip on that was I was like, Kit and I had a good game, and I was like, God, we were talking about trading him, and Kip was like, yeah, and they might have won had they.
Well,
you don't know.
That's always the what if, and there was some talk about Chicago, right? Maybe Kyle Dubas floating him out to Chicago. Was there?
Hagel and Fleury. And Fleury. For I think it was 2 first-round picks and Nice.
There you go. So,
yeah.
what if?
Hagel's
eh?
pretty good, boys.
What ifs?
Are we good on Leafs?
Yeah, we are.
One other guy who's come up on this show quite a bit is old Connor Bedard, who, we've talked about him for the Four Nations face-off. Last night I see Macklin Celebrini score an OT winner, his 4th goal of the year in 8 games. Connor Bedard has 3 goals in 18 games this year, 13 points. What are your thoughts on what's going on with his development early on here?
I didn't like his game in Vancouver the other night, homecoming game. So a couple of different things are standing out. Somehow, some way, we got to get better in the faceoff circle. I know that sounds like just a small thing, but starting with the puck when you're a skilled guy obviously matters a lot, right? Because if he wins a draw, somebody's looking to give it back to him and he can go on the attack. When you start your shifts with him at center ice right now, they're chasing the play more often than they have it. And like he's around 30% or something, guys, which is obviously horrendous.
I can get him to 100 if they just let someone else take the face off.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Float somebody else in there and then let him just kind of wander, right? Because coverage-wise, he's okay defensively. Like he can cover down low and he can track up and down the ice. He's just been okay. But you know what? So Chicago just okay. They've got like Donato's been okay. He's got 9 goals or whatever, and he's the best version of himself. Foligno the other night looked like he was fast. Like Foligno looked like he was playing fast the other night, which was shocking to me. But Bedard, sophomore slump a little bit there. His handles haven't been as clean. We'll see. Am I overly concerned? No chance.
Is strength an issue here?
So the way that he is built, do you guys remember when Sid first came into the league? His upper body was, he was a young man, but Bedard's built the same way. He's got a big rump and big legs, but the upper body and the long stick, so when he's defending and you don't have a ton of upper body strength, for me, if he gets into reaching situations where he's got to engage that way, yeah, like it is a little bit of an issue for sure. Again, not surrounded by a lot of support, not enough secondary battle there in Chicago. That hurts everybody. You're going to be the worst part of your game can get exposed in a hurry when you're living on the margins and you're their best player. Like that's a heavy lift.
For sure. Just go back to the Leafs for one more question, because there's a guy we haven't seen a lot that has been in the league for a while, Yanni Hakanpää, but I don't know what to expect for, if he stays in the lineup for them, is he going to help them at this point? What is he to the Leafs this season?
I really like Hakanpää.
You do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do. I like him a lot. I like him. He's got Brad Marsh offensive upside, but I really don't care. He's long, he's physical, he knows exactly what he is, and as long as he plays between the hash marks and keeps everything to the perimeter, he's going to be fine. I don't like the trajectory of Benoit's game so much this year, but I also believe that Benoit's capable of playing at least close to what he played last year, hopefully. So I just like the look of it. He is what he is. He's defined. He's not going to stray outside his comfort zone, Borny, and that's a positive.
Nice.
If you were still scouting right now and you had the book on a Stolars in net, and I don't know whether you had a chance to trade for him or sign him and you didn't, are you Are you waiting for that bubble to burst, or would you have said, I've seen enough and I miscalculated?
I've already seen enough right now to say that I have miscalculated, to be honest. I think he's already punched above his playing weight for where he is today. Like, I think he's much better today. When he first came to London, Kyper, he couldn't track and he was kind of a hot mess in his crease, and it wasn't great to watch besides the big body. He was just huge. Now, but I got to get him over 30 games before I'm a real believer here. Like, there's going to be a slump in here. There's going to be a week or two where everybody's going to be saying, uh-oh. And you hope that at that point that Wall can, pick up the slack, or God forbid we hear a Murray coming back up, something like that. There's going to be some things that are going to happen between now and the end of the year. But boy, oh boy, does he look good. And if I'm advanced scouting this guy, I got to get him moving as much as possible back and forth and get in his eyes as much as I possibly can. The good news for Toronto and Toronto fans is they've got some big boys on the back end who are more willing to box out and compete around their net. And that's great, because big body goalie like Stolarz, he's seen the biscuit.
All right, Book. Great stuff, man. Thanks for doing this.
Anytime, boys. Have a great week. We'll see you.
All right.
Thanks, Books. Appreciate it.
Jason
See you,
Bukala,
Sammy.
See you, Books.
Pro Hockey Group, Sportsnet, former NHL scout.
Talking with him, I always think to check of rookie scores and see what's going on in the Calder Trophy race. Matvei Michkov is leading the league in points for rookies at 15 points, but we know it's not going awesome.
Yeah, sit him down.
They're not loving it in Philly.
Scratch
It sounds like a lot of, power play points.
Didn't get this year the hot rookie out of the gate.
Eric
No.
Lindros? You mean Michkov there? Same guy.
Yeah, right. Same guy. Logan Stankoven is second. Lane Hudson has 0 goals and 11 assists. They like that Siplikov on Long Island, I know. Cutter Gauthier's got 8 points.
You're beating around the bush here. If it was, go back to the Leafs, and you asked him about Cowan, if it was like a big, multi-year contract guy who became available, who was really going to help the Leafs, would you trade Cowan or Minten?
Oh, for me,
Because I would trade Cowan.
everything's on the table.
I would trade
Yeah.
Minten for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I would trade either.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
you can find third line centers. For me, it's like I want to see what the team
It's gotta
looks
be.
like.
It's got to be a.
Where are they in the standings in February?
Yeah. I feel like they're going to be probably 1 or 2 or 3.
Who's available?
Like every year.
though?
I don't
Like,
know. That's what I'm
who's
saying.
available? Like,
Ryan Donato.
if
Not Ryan
Stuff
Donato.
always shakes out
listen,
as it goes. We know
we're
this.
gonna talk. We're almost wrapped up here,
Yeah.
and we'll segue maybe into the national hour.
Uh-huh.
But big story today: the Boston Bruins fired their head coach Jim Montgomery. Where are they? Where are they? Come February and March, Brad Marchand.
Oh boy, what a name you just dropped! I didn't even consider that. If they're out of it,
Cowan for Marchand? You heard it here first?
Saying, but
get away.
I'm just telling you that now, if in fact this thing goes south big time in Boston, and Brad needs a new contract, he's not ready to shut it down, and Boston's
got a
not
fun one
prepared to
for
pay
you.
him.
I got a fun one for you. First off, the 3 teams who are worse in the league in goal differential are Pittsburgh, Boston, and San Jose.
So
Wow.
Those teams are-
that's the type of example that you
Okay.
can forecast to saying, if, what would we do?
If there's 2 UFAs available for the Leafs to sign at the same dollar amount at this end of the season, you can have John Tavares or Brad Marchand. Which one are you signing?
Well, one's won and one hasn't.
Yeah, 1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One's a center and the other isn't.
I plead the 5th. Probably Marchand.
All day long.
Yeah, it's
buddy.
Marchand.
Come
I don't
on.
want to offend John because he's had a good year. He's been a
doing
good,
great.
Good Leaf.
Everybody's
Doing great.
scared to offend. Just say it.
I'd rather have Marchand.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, guys.
It's okay.
That felt terrible. What a bad
John's
way
a
to
big
end it.
boy.
Yeah,
And
he-
he's got $100 million in the bank. Think he
No.
cares what you think?
He's having a kale smoothie right now. He's not listening to
He's
me.
loving life right now. Okay. Our thanks to Jason Bukala in our first hour. Plenty to dissect, including the hottest scorer in the NHL, down and out. We'll tell you what's wrong with Ovechkin.
Oh, we will?
What a
Yeah, we
tease.
will. We will. I got a little insight on that. Stick around. All right, let's take it national on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver and Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Wow, we got some big headlines to start this show.
'Tis a newsy day.
Very, very newsy day. But before we do that, we'll remind you this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll also welcome in Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG and CEO of Clear Sight Analytics. Plenty to get into. Vancouver can lead us off. Yes, we'll get to the hottest scorer in the NHL, Ovechkin, down and out. But first and foremost, an announcement from the Vancouver Canucks that JT Miller has taken an indefinite leave for personal reasons. Pretty good player out of their lineup, and we can hope only the best for JT Miller, first and foremost. But this quite quickly comes out of the blue, JB.
Yeah, and, it's tough because, we get this news a couple hours ago, and you don't want to speculate. It sounds like, was there something from Post Media?
Yes, that they do believe it's not related to substance or alcohol abuse, if I read the statement correctly
so
from Post Media.
There's that little bit of information. There's, the fact that he's been playing through injury. We know that. Something in preseason, something against the Flyers. So that's holding him up. But also last game, he was outright benched. Kind of running through all that in my head. If it's none of those things, it's tough to guess. People have lives outside of the rink, and it's probably, we're not going to be able to pin this one down unless it was an FU match with his coach, which I don't think it was.
We do have a bit of talk if you want to listen to what he said. Like, this is the scrum. We can duck out of it whenever, but he was just, he addressed it today, so we could play some of that if we could, Derek.
Well, it's just, you read the statement. It's indefinite in the sense we don't know how long. Respect the privacy of Millsy. It's got nothing to do with the, don't speculate, please, guys. It's nothing to do with the benching. So I appreciate not the speculation. And, he's a family member here. We're going to support him.
Do you feel that there was some stuff weighing on him during the last little bit here?
Listen, Millsy is his worst critic. The guy wears the heart of his sleeve. He's our FU. Like, he's the guy that is an emotional leader. So he takes upon himself to do it every night, and it's hard to do. So, no, I thought, just like last year, he's a big part of our team. Since I've been here, he's unreal. Played great hockey. I'm lucky to have him.
Rick, did this
Make anything for that?
I really just, total guess is something family related that is none of our business. And just got to sit this one out and wait.
And wasn't a huge JT Miller fan
Years
ago, but over the course of the last year and a half, and then that fork in the road with Vancouver Canuck fans, and do you go Bo Horvat? Do you keep JT Miller? No trade JT Miller. No trade Bo Horvat. He's been a rock star for them.
It's been awesome,
right? So we
not been the same player this year.
Wish him the best of luck moving forward. Okay, let's bring in Steve Valiquette. It's Tuesday, which means we're just going to get flooded right now with information. Valley, how are you, pal? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good, fellas. It's a special time of year. All the goalies have faced at least 300 scoring chances if you're a number one. So this is where the rubber meets the road.
It is. So, tough news for Vancouver Canuck fans. They lose one of their most complete players, five-tool guy, does it all for them in JT Miller. But could they be getting another one in Thatcher Demko back?
We thought so earlier today, but it's Shelovs is going to be starting in net for
Okay.
the Vancouver Canucks against the Rangers tonight.
But he's
there were a lot of
close.
rumors.
He's
It was
going on the road
close.
trip
It
with the
was-
team, I've heard.
Yeah, it was close. We were hearing that Demko was most likely going to get the start around this time yesterday. So he's been trying it. And, I remember talking to you guys about this recently. He's going to play through the pain. And some players can do it, some cannot. We've all been in the room with guys that can. So if he's one of those guys, he'll be back sooner than later. But right now, Lankinen has really been ridden too hard, in my opinion, and he's taken a step back. So Shelovs is in net tonight for Vancouver against the Rangers. Take the over.
Is that right? It's one of those nights where, we're one of those years for the Canucks where it's like their record's all right. They're like 9-6-3, I think. And it's just, it feels more dire, like everyone is in panic mode in Vancouver.
And hey, look, I'm joking about the Shelovs take the over
Yeah.
thing. It's take the over because of the matchup, Borny. The highest event team in the NHL right now is the Rangers. They're a fun team to watch. They give up a ton and they get a ton. And the only reason why they are where they are is because their goaltending has been miraculous. You guys, I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but there has been a resurgence of Jonathan Quick. I mean, the guy, this is some of the best
It will not
goaltending,
go
Borny.
away.
No. And I would bet against him because he's 38 years old. And I'm like, how can you play right now? I remember age 35, I had signed with Djurgården in Sweden to play for 2 more years. And I'm about a month away from leaving. You have to leave mid-July when you play in Europe. I get out of the shower and my wife says, "What do you think you're doing? You're leaving here in a month. Look at your legs." And I looked down at my legs and my groin still hadn't healed from the year before. And there was black and blue that wrapped around the back of my knees on both legs. Yeah. And I thought up until that point, I was still okay to go. I was done at 35. To see Quick right now and doing the game the other night with Henrik, his insight was really neat because he, of course, played him in the Stanley Cup final. And he said, like, Valley, this is not even the same goalie the way he plays. He's so much deeper on every single sequence at the net. There was 3 years ago, guys, he had the worst east to west save percentage in the league, and he's the best now. How do you explain that? And most of it, the explanation is positioning. Yeah. It's a change of the way that he's approached the game. There was a game last year where this is where it all came to roost for me. It was in Edmonton. It was around this time because the Rangers take that Western Coast trip every time of year, every year. And he had 27 saves in that game, and 26 of them were in the blue paint. Wow. 3 years ago, he would have had 26 of 27 in the white paint. He's playing differently. We've talked a lot about how the game has changed, the east to west, et cetera. But talk about a model of being able to keep yourself in the NHL and relevant. He's got back-to-back shutouts, and both of those games were stolen wins. Guys, the Rangers should have lost. That's how great he's been.
That's Hall of Fame type stuff when you can make those late career adjustments.
Big time.
Name that stands out for me right now, looking through some goalie stuff, is Jeremy Swayman. Coach gets fired. It's always the coach, the goaltender whose save percentage is in the dumpster when the coach gets fired. I was just checking Money Puck today. They had him as the 5th worst goalie in the NHL, goals saved above expected. I don't know their stats or the quality of stats, but I'm guessing he's not been great, Valley. What's your thoughts on Swayman so far this season?
Yeah, I have to turn the page on my stat list to get to his name. Never a good sign.
Not great, no.
No, so he is in the bottom third of the NHL right now. And he's usually in the top 10. Yeah. So he's in the bottom of the bottom third. And in goals saved above expected, he is nowhere near the class of goalie that he typically is. And you know what, Borny? It's funny. We do always say that about a goalie burying a coach. When a coach gets let go, it's the goalie save percentage. The one thing that always strikes me too, it's the shooter's shooting percentage on specific chance types.
Really?
Yeah. When the goalie's does his thing in combination with the shooters not scoring on breakaways, not scoring on odd man rushes. I did a report once for John Hines after he was let go from New Jersey. And it was because at the time, Jack Hughes was 0 for 13 on breakaways. And a few of the other guys were like 0 for 16 in rebounds. I remember Taylor Hall was like 0 for 12 on east to west plays. So players in combination with goaltenders sink coaches, and usually it's execution for both goalies and players.
So where's the explanation for the Washington Capitals who, we laughed at last year? Honestly, I'm as guilty as anyone saying that they're not going to be very good, and it might take a while here. And, they're transitioning from the Backstrom, Ovechkin age to where we're not sure. And then Ovechkin, lo and behold, leads the league in goal scoring until he got hurt last night. And they're one of the highest scoring teams. I think the highest per game average.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So, where's that explanation?
So there's a little bit of luck here. and randomness, because broken plays are luck and randomness, and they are overshooting at 5-on-5 by 13 goals.
Whoa.
It just never stays that way. I think you guys remember me saying that when a player is -5, he typically starts to score and gets out of it. But when a team is +5 or -5, those are usually the thresholds where they're either going to set back or break through. In this case, they're overshooting it, so they're going to set back. But they are, in my opinion, the best group of offensive players in the O-zone in the NHL right now. So their execution is high, but their quality is high. It's just that they're overshooting it. As good as they've been, they're overshooting it. That's why we're talking about it. If they were performing where they should, they'd just be really good, but we're going to say they're unreal right now. And that's what I see as well. But I do see them coming back a little bit, but I'm very impressed with what Spencer Carberry's done. He understands offensive zone play in modern hockey better than anybody, in my opinion. He really has a great understanding. Now, a lot of coaches, you guys know this, a lot of coaches don't coach offense. Let them have fun, get into the fun zone, play. You guys create. I don't want to put too much in your mind. Now, I couldn't disagree with that more. I don't agree with that at all. I agree with coaching philosophy that includes specific sets, high rolls, systems, structure, so we have outs and east to west at some point. And, you know, when I look at the O-zone right now, I'm looking at it in 3 ways. What teams are the best east to west? Washington's in the top 5. What teams are great with net front, getting shots from the point? Washington's top 5. What teams are great at rolling off the wall and getting passes from below the goal line to slot? Washington's in the top 5. So that's why they're really good. They're doing those 3 things really well. If you do those 3 things well and get to broken plays and rebounds, you're going to overshoot what you should be shooting.
Second in the league, the Washington Capitals in goal differential at 28. Winnipeg leads the league at 31.
What a swing from last year. So, you know, talking about the way they've done it, east-west, below the goal line, passes out front. These are all pretty contrary to a lot of the coaches we hear go, you know, get it to the net, north-south, you know, those sorts of things. So you have sort of identified some offensive structure that is better than just shoot it at the net and hope.
Yeah, exactly. So the most hockey-driven analytics information that we've been able to derive from what we collect is that we're able to say to the coaches, your net front is garbage or your net front is elite. And that would include, Borny, all shots that come from the point, and if there's a screen, and if there's a screen that then leads to a rebound, or a screen that may lead to a broken play, or a screen to deflection, all of these data points, you can call them, but really I just call them pieces of information, hockey. You lump those together, you categorize them, and then you rate who's doing it the most, all the way down to 32nd, and you get top 5s and bottom 5, so you have context. That's the biggest thing for coaches. Because if I'm in Washington, I'm saying, okay, Valley, you're saying we're doing it well. All right, well, who's doing it the worst? And you go down the list, and it's Chicago's at the bottom, with San Jose and Anaheim, and you get the drift. There's always a connection when you see the context between our eyeballs watching the game and what these guys are actually doing every night.
So you got to do the math. If Ovechkin's out 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you can definitely tell me how many goals he's going to end up with at the end of the year, correct? That's how good you are?
No, I do have him at early March. It was mid-March, April, and now it's early. But that's all, you know, it was hard to watch him leave the game last night, wasn't it?
I've really never seen it before, right?
I mean, five goals in 2 games where you're like, what? And you know what, guys? This always comes back to my memory where when I was playing in Russia, I played for the Red Army, and Ovechkin played for Dynamo Moscow. Do you know how many goals he had in the KHL the year before he scored 52 in the NHL?
No.
13.
Really?
He had 13 goals in the KHL. He had 13 the year before that, and then he had 7 the year before that, and 2, and then he explodes in the NHL.
Yeah, but he was 12.
Or doesn't it go the other way? Right now he's 45.
Yeah, that's more likely.
But it always reminds me of one of my teammates. I played this guy Rykov, where he brought it up to my attention because I'm in the KHL now, and he said, oh, Ovechkin scored again. He only scored 13 goals for us last year.
Yeah. KHL must be a much better league. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So we're dying about it.
Watching Ovi, the one thing everyone talks about his one-timer, his wrist shot from a stationary position beats goalies an insane amount. I actually think that if you clipped shots off of face-offs, just, the catch-release off draws, he might have, 75, 100 of those in his career. What is it about that shot that goalies can't see? Is it that much harder?
Well, you're asking the right guy. You got two by me, so I'm on the list.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll never forget having a really good game in Washington, coming off of a shutout the night before in Philadelphia, and I was feeling great about my game. It's mid-second period, and he comes down the wing, and he slings it. Okay, it's not a shot. He just slings it. Goes 4 feet over the net. I'm like, God damn, he could have killed me with that thing. But the next time he comes down, what does he do? He slings it again, but it just knuckles and dives and it goes underneath my arm. And, it's what we've been hearing in hockey for 40, 50 years. It used to be Bobby Hull. He'd go down the wing and he'd give you a chin music so you could smell it going by you. And the next one's on the ice. And I feel like Ovi knows that too. And he knows what his weapon is. It's his shot, but he can scare you with it. And if you guys remember the first show that we had together this year, I was telling you about the issue I have with the goalies that I'm training, the young guys, where they're flinching. They're kind of shuttering their eyes. I think I closed my eyes on the one that went underneath my arm because the previous one had me thinking. And you can't read it because when he slings it, his toe curve, it puts the puck on edge.
Yeah.
And I bet if you were able to go and really frame by frame every time he beats a goalie clean, you'll be surprised. His shot doesn't just fall off a table. It is end over end. 9 times out of 10 when you see his goals beat a goalie clean from distance. They're just harder to read. And Henrik and I have been talking about that for years. I think he has the most goals on any goalie on Henrik because they played against each other so frequently. It's Ovi's fascinating, always will be. And it looks like he's going to do what Sammy doesn't want him to do.
We are talking to
Sammy was like, oh no, he's hurt.
Hey, no. I would never hope for an injury ever. Come on now, guys.
talking to Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG and CEO of Clear Sight Analytics. Speaking of our good boy Sammy over here, grave concern, Valley, over who's going to stop a puck in the Four Nations tournament for Team Canada or the Olympics coming up. Aiden Hill, Stuart Skinner, Bennington. Now people are talking about Mackenzie Blackwood being the goalie.
Well, you forgot about the starter.
Cam Talbot?
Logan Thompson.
Oh, is that so?
Hey, Barney, I know you didn't like his start against Toronto, but it was his worst game of the year.
Okay.
It was, you just saw him on a bad night. I spent probably, 2 hours too long on this today, but I wanted to come armed and dangerous with some information just to let everybody relax on this conversation.
No, just Sammy. It's just for Sammy.
Well, Sammy and his buddies on the zigzags.
Go Zags.
All right. So let me start with this because it's actually something I was working on for tonight's game against Vancouver anyway. All right. So high danger chances. And it's really important to understand why they're important to me as a former goalie. All right. So getting the scoring chances right, high, mid, and low, it's very important to evaluate the strength of the chances you're going to get. Now, this is going to help us with the Logan Thompson conversation. It's going to help us with the Marner Matthews debate. You need high danger chances, and I'm going to tell you why. And you have to identify them the right way. When you register one or more high danger chance in a game against your opponent, and that differential is +1, you have a 610 winning percentage, which equals 50 wins in an 82-game season, which means you're a playoff team. If you're consistently getting one more than your opponent all season long. Now, that's only at +1. That's not even counting games when you're +2 or 3. And that just shows you how thin the margins are. You must get more high dangers than your opponent. 1 out of every 3 go in. And the unique thing about goaltending is everybody in the NHL lets them in 1 out of every 3. The mid-danger chances, that's where you want your goalies, the elite top-tier guys, to stop all of them. Like, I mean, traditionally a goalie gives up 1 every 8. I'd like to see a goalie give up about 1 every 12. Then you're a top tier guy. That's how you make up the difference on the high dangers. And I misspoke, but what I wanted to say was your goalies have to stop all the low dangers. No low danger goals are going in. That's the only reason why the Leafs haven't had success in the playoffs. It's always been a low danger at the misopportune time. You guys know that. So your goalie stops all the low. He's above league average on the mids, and he's going to be league average on the highs. All right. So Shesterkin, going into this game tonight against Vancouver, there's a bit of a mismatch because Vancouver, really strong east to west in the O-zone. They are the best team in the NHL, east to west in the O-zone at 5-on-5. The Rangers are the worst team at in-zone defense, east to west chances, 5-on-5. They give up a lot east to west, 5-on-5 in D-zone coverage. Shesterkin is going up against the best offense. Now, let's keep that in context because there's no Besser tonight, no JT Miller. Now, Shesterkin is 18. He's the 18th rated goalie out of 18 goalies that qualify for facing 10 or more of those types of chances this year. So he's last. And he's given up 9 goals on that type of situation. So Igor is only stopping. He's faced 25. Excuse me. No, he's given up 9. So it's 64% chance to make a save for him on that. That's the key stat. And when I'm looking at his limitations that I'm sort of going through here with high danger chances, it goes to show you it doesn't matter who's in your net if the chance is super high danger. And when I'm watching the game with Henrik the other night against Winnipeg, Hank says to me, he goes, "You know me, Valley, I'd love to just say, he could have done this or that. I don't see how he can get that. And I don't see how he can get that one either because they're that egregious. That's why they're going in 1 every 3. It's like time and space, backdoor. You can't even get a body part there. So if you're looking at the game that way and you're starting to go through like limitations and basically just admit to the fact that we need consistent goaltending more than anything. And if I was to ask you guys, Vezina caliber goaltending, what do you need besides consistency? Like if you're going to select your goalie for Team Canada right now for the 4 Nations, or you want to talk about Stolarz, Vezina caliber, what's the most important attributes to your goalie?
Is it the guy with the highest ratio of mid-danger saves?
Just
1 in 15, 1 in 20?
Oh, I'm not even talking. I'm sorry. I'm not even going analytics right now.
Yes.
I'm
just
talking hockey.
stylistic.
Calm.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Calm.
Yes.
Calm.
Sorry, say that again,
Quiet.
Kipper.
Quiet. Calm.
Oh, quiet and calm. Yeah. Okay, quiet and calm. You want them to play a lot of games, so they have to be healthy. You need wins. And if you want to be an elite guy, you need stolen wins, right? You got to steal a few along the way.
Yeah.
But most importantly, it's all about being consistent. So there's a way you can measure consistency in the NHL. And this is where it gets interesting because there are 4 ways after a game you can say a goalie played. He either played a great game, a quality game, an average game, or he had a bad game. So no matter how you play in front of him, if he has a bad game or an average game, you most likely are on the wrong side of the wins and losses. Now, Stolarz, right now, when you look at the strength of his season, wouldn't you say that he's been pretty darn consistent? He's only had 2 bad games. So he's had 12 starts. He's had 4 great games, 4 quality games, 2 average games, 2 bad games. He's an 83.3% positive game percentage. That measures consistency. So when you're looking at goalies the year before you select them, you're looking for somebody with consistency, right? Well, how about Stolarz last season? He had the best positive game percentage in the NHL. 88.9% of the time, he had a quality game.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it was a great selection by the Leafs to get him. This guy's consistent. For 2 years, he's been consistent. I have him as a goalie representing the U.S. right now. It's him and Hellebuck. And if I'm going to go back, now recall what I just said there, 88.9% first last year for him. Now, a Vezina Trophy winning goalie, Hellebuck last year was only 81% in his quality starts, 81. He had 2 stolen wins, but he played a lot of games and he was healthy. So those are other boosters and reason why he won Vezina the year before Allmark wins Vezina. He was an 89.8, incredibly consistent with a big safety net. One of the most inconsistent goalies in the NHL right now, bottom 5, Allmark. Stolen wins, he had 2 when he won the Vezina Trophy. Again, great defensive team in Boston. When Shesterkin won the Vezina 3 years ago, 81% he was in positive game percentage, quality games, and he had 6 stolen wins. That's why that was his massive boost. He had a lot of stolen wins. So the reason why I went down the road there was because we're getting to Logan Thompson, okay?
Yeah.
Now, Logan's 8-0-1, Borny, and the only bad game he had was against the Leafs. He gave up 2 squeakers through his 5-hole. He's only given up 4 5-hole goals all year, but you saw 2 of them. And I heard your comments the next day, and I get it. I'd feel the same way. I'm like, oh, boy, I don't know about that guy. Yeah. But you only saw him once. If you see him every night, he's performing at an extremely high level. His positive game percentage, Borny, it's like Vezina level. It's 88.9. So what do you need in your net in Canada? You need consistency, right? So at least this guy's not a massive swing, high and low. He's very consistent. Last season, mid-80s, very consistent.
Sold.
He's a very consistent goalie.
Put him
now,
in.
And sorry, what's that part?
I said sold. I'm in. That's all I need.
Okay,
Go get him, Logan.
And he's big. And you know what? He's got the best glove hand in the NHL. The last 2 years, he's got the best glove hand in the NHL. He can move east to west. I'm high on Logan. He's playing well, man.
He is.
I'd be
He
happy putting him in the net.
Made a couple in Utah last night too.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him performing at a high level. And if it has to be him, because Binnington, for whatever reason, he's going through it right now, not playing at a high level. Adin Hill, also very consistent as far as wins. He has 8 wins as well. They're both in the top 5 in the NHL. I think Adin can help and support. But look, I think that Logan right now is the front runner. We'll see what happens over the next number of weeks.
Hey, just one quick question before we go. Like, again, high dangers, mid dangers, low danger chances. What do you do? Do you break down areas of the ice and strictly call that low danger, or is it circumstantial?
It's always circumstantial. So the biggest factor that we have, Kyper, is there a broken play? Did it move east to west? Is there a screen or not? And it's really important to qualify those, because those 3 things don't allow the goalie to have clear view on the puck for more than half of a second. The barrier in hockey is that the goalie is trying to achieve half a second or more of clear view on the puck, while the shooters are not allowing them to do so. And if you do that consistently, you're going to have more high danger chances. You can get high danger chances from the point, because a screen deflection is a high danger chance. And you can get a high danger chance from high skill plays like the east to west, of course. But it's not just the area on the ice. The reason why I started this company 10 years ago was because I wanted to prove that shot quality existed. That a shot from the faceoff dot to my left, where the referee drops the puck, it could be 5 different shots from there, and 2 could be low danger if the goalie has clear view. And it could be a pass through the seam to Ovechkin on a one-timer that could be a high danger. All the same locations. There's a screen deflection, or if there is a layered screen and that player gets into the slot area, high danger. But all of these factors, Kyper, they only revealed themselves after we did 1 year of collecting every single shot in the NHL with these 34 points of data. Location is one aspect, but the real takeover is taking away the goalie's view, whether it's massive mobility or a broken play off of a shin pad. And I know you guys might be on your way, but what about this Marner-Matthews debate?
What are you trying to stir it up?
Yeah,
You want us to do it again?
Can you? Here's the real question. Can you support me in like 15 seconds, 20 seconds?
If I got to run because you guys got to run, I'll do a quickie, okay?
Okay.
Kyper wins. No,
we're out of time, everybody.
No, yeah. I'll give you a quick. So, Auston, 23. I just went over the last 3 playoff seasons, right? Recency. So, as a shooter, Auston, far superior. He has 26 high danger chances, and he scores 7 goals in the last 3 playoffs on his high danger. Okay. Now, again, I care what Mitch and Auston create high danger wise. Why? Because the best goalies can't stop it more than one every 3 times. I don't care who it is. Vasilevsky, Shesterkin. I just told you the Shesterkin story. Okay, so we're just talking high danger. That's the most important thing. We get that right. As a passer, Auston has only had 9 high danger passes. As Kyper oftentimes says, not the best playmaker if you want him in the middle. And for 5 goals. So the guy's actually scored for him, but he's only created 9 high danger primary passes in 23 games, in his last 23 games. So Mitchie's played 25 playoff games over the last 3 years. And as a shooter, it's the contrary. As a shooter, he's had only 7 high danger, not getting inside, not creating big plays, not getting breakaways, not getting 2-on-1s, high danger chances. He's got 3 goals. As a passer, Mitchie has 33 high danger passes. So he's still getting his guys inside, springing guys for breakaways, odd mans, etc., resulting in 7 goals. But the guys have underperformed on his passes, -5. They should have had 5 more. He should have had 5 more assists. So his totals, Mariners, are 40. If we're looking at total contribution in high dangers, he's had 40 between passer and shooter to Matthews 35. So there's an argument to be made there, guys, that Mitchie is more effective than Auston.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Yeah. But, and you know what else? He had 6 hat tricks last year, right?
Matthews did, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that they were all against non-playoff teams?
They're all DQ'd.
Listen, hey, I didn't ask you to trade Matthews away.
Hey, I actually think you should. I'm sorry. You always want to fight about something in the next 20 minutes?
He's playing for Bayern Munich now. He's playing for Bayern Munich now.
What could you get? Hey, Sammy, what could you get?
Let's get him back.
He's playing striker.
Let's get him back on the ice.
Germany.
Hey.
I don't know. I wouldn't touch that Matthews if I was wearing a hazmat suit. You guys should get rid of him.
All right, Justin wants you to go and cover the game now for the New York Rangers.
Thanks, Valley.
All right, fellas. Have a great day.
Have a good one.
All right.
Oh, my God.
Steve Valiquette, as he prepares to cover the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks tonight.
All right, let's go to break.
MSG. Okay, Sammy, break and then game time or game time now?
No, we got to go.
Okay, let's go to break, and we're right back with more Real Kyper and Bourne. Okay, so much in terms of storylines around the National Hockey League, including key injuries right now. We have mentioned Auston Matthews in Toronto, Ovechkin as well. I thought it'd be a good time to call an emergency into Dr. Jason Smith. So we'll get him on the line momentarily. But a reminder that this hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, is brought to you by Bet365. Elliot Friedman has a story on Sportsnet.ca. He breaks it down in terms of Auston Matthews going out to Germany to see a specialist. And this guy has been around a long time.
The German specialist. Hans Mueller Wolfhart. Healing Hans.
Right? And Sammy, he's got a pretty good long list of...
Well, McCaffrey was just with him.
And
I think Usain Bolt. And, Bono was on his Wikipedia. I don't know if that's in the same category. But with or without you.
The opera guy.
Talking about his back.
Pavarotti, he's done opera. He's like the magician here. So let's welcome in Doctor. What's going on? Orthopedic surgeon for the Toronto Blue Jays. So, Doc, I mean, we only got a few minutes here, but Elliot Friedman's got a story on Sportsnet.ca. He says his source in the article suggests that people shouldn't get stressed out because of the destination, i.e. Germany, because, if it was local, just because it isn't local, people shouldn't panic. So my question to you, Doc, is why Germany then? Why not here?
Well, first off, the Leafs have an unbelievable medical staff. They'll put their staff up against any staff in the world. So it's not like they're doing anything radically different that, they have the magic over there that we don't have over here. But what they do have in Germany is less regulation on some of the stuff we're doing around stem cells, protein manipulation, PRP, and these things. So in some situations, if all the latest and everything we have just isn't working perfectly, sometimes you got to shift course. And that's not to say that, they have the magic bullet over there either. Like if they had something that worked all the time, every single injury would go over there. Mm-hmm. But they have some different stuff that they can try, and sometimes you just got to change course.
So it being, the course of this injury has been a little bizarre for Leafs fans where Matthews was hurt. He skated a little bit right after. They've just been waiting for this to get better. It's all kind of vague right now. What are your thoughts on now we're getting to 2 and 3 weeks and he's traveling to see a specialist? What does that tell you about the nature of his injury?
Well, it just means he's getting a little bit frustrated with it. Now, doesn't necessarily speak that it's something that he's not going to be able to come back from. Like, as we know, soft tissue injuries, 2-3 weeks isn't a long time. Like, let's not all get super concerned that this guy's out for the rest of the season. It's just, he's such a valuable player, and they want to shave as many weeks off his recovery as they can. So it doesn't really alarm me a ton yet, and they're just trying different things or throwing different things at it, which is welcome to elite sports medicine.
In terms of, like, can we assume that, whatever's ailing him, then it is an injection of whatever this doctor wants to put into it? And I know his reputation is a little bit on the homeopathic side. But, again, is it just something that, like, as you who practice here, do you sit there and go, I wish I had more regulations to treat these guys? Am I losing business to Germany now?
Yeah, that's the point. So with him, and we know him well, and we know guys that go see him, it is the injectables. It's what he can do to inject. That's a little bit different than what we're allowed to do here. Now, it's not grossly different. It's not like this crazy magic thing that, we can't touch over here. But it's some things that are a little bit different in terms of, where you can get your proteins from, and then potentially around the stem cell side of how much you can manipulate the stem cells. So it's just a little different. It's not the magic bullet, like I said, or everyone would be going there. So that would be my guess, is he's going to try one of these different types of injections. It's a little bit different than some of the stuff we're using here, but it's not some crazy magic potion.
Doc, I want to get your thoughts on the Alex Ovechkin injury. Everyone is closely watching his chase of Gretzky's record. He got, his leg extended and someone leaned on it a little bit. He tried to test it, didn't look great. What was your initial thoughts when you saw the Ovechkin injury?
Man, yeah, you think, well, back to the beginning of the season, this looks very similar to Line A, but it looks to be a less degree. Mm-hmm. And, you see McBain spin off of it when he hits him. So a lot of the energy wasn't going through the knee, but it was enough to torque on it. Like, you see it bending a little bit the wrong way. You always cringe when you see that. But I'm definitely thinking MCL. When I see that mechanism and I see that slow motion, MCL would be my guess. But also bone bruise on the other side. When you stress one side, you push on the other. So MCL, maybe bone bruise. We'll see. I
went to the break. I did make a call. I can update it a little bit. That, to the Washington Capitals press release, lower leg, which takes away the knee, the ankle. And
really helpful. Thanks, Rob.
No, wait, I'm not done.
It's
I'm not
lower
done.
Limb.
So the feeling last night was that they may be looking at a hairline fracture. There was too much swelling to take a definitive picture, so they'll wait for the swelling to go down. So I guess whether or not they feel like there's a fracture there or not, or to what degree. So I ask you, Doc, what's the difference between, say, a hairline fracture and maybe something more severe?
Yeah, a little hairline fracture, that means nothing's out of place. But that could be put you longer, 4 to 6 weeks often for fractures to heal. Now, it depends if it's a fracture like a bone bruise compression, or actually he got smacked and had a little fracture maybe on the fibula, that little bone on the outside or something like that. But the good thing about fractures is as long as they're not displaced, not shifted, fractures heal, and fractures heal 100%. So 4 to 6 weeks if it's a fracture, 2-3 weeks if it's a grade 1 to 2 MCL. That's what we're looking at there.
Hey, Doc, great stuff, man. Thanks for joining us. You okay?
Happy birthday
are you,
to you.
Hey, is there a big birthday, by the way?
This is number 50, guys.
Oh, boy, you came on the show today. Happy birthday.
Came on the show.
That's commitment.
Doctor. Have a great one. Thanks for doing this.
guys.
Thanks so much, Doc. Appreciate it.
Dr. Jason Smith.
Wow,
Okay.
cool of him to come on his 50th
really good.
birthday. That's amazing.
Really good.
Little
Game time.
hairline fracture, little.
Let me sneak in.
They don't know yet. It's nothing definitive, but that was the feeling last night that they were looking into
Not
it.
getting the record this year, boys.
Let me sneak in game time. It's game time. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app, latest odds, to find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Edmonton Oilers back in action tonight in the nation's capital after a putrid performance
What
against the
happened?
Montreal Canadiens last night. Shut out 3-0 at the Bell Center. Going to take on the Sens tonight. Even odds on both sides. Minus 110 on both sides. I got to tell you, boys, Oilers need this one. Oilers really got to find a way to dig deep here. At the end of a road trip, I know it's a tough one. But, God, you can't lose back-to-back nights. Sens aren't playing great either. There's a little bit of desperation in this game from both sides. I think it could be a good one. Give me the Oil to get back on track tonight in Ottawa. The Pittsburgh Penguins at home to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Pittsburgh Penguins, big underdogs, plus 140 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, minus 165. And the last one that I'll bring up, the Vancouver Canucks, home to the New York Rangers. Valley said lots of goals. The over 6 goals is minus 120. So give me on Valley's advice, minus 120 over 6 goals in the New York Rangers Vancouver Canucks game tonight.
I also like any time in an over-under you can get a flat number, not a 0.5, so you can at least push.
You can
to
push.
Get to 6.
So there you go. And that was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds to find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
I got to think maybe Demko could have played tonight, but at home against the Rangers,
That's
not
a tough spot.
not a good spot.
No Miller. Yeah.
Right? No Miller.
Yes, sir.
Like, that's not where you want to bring him back.
Yeah, that's probably a great point. I'll try to ease him in. He talked about how dangerous both of these teams are offensively. That have been a tough start. So Demko not far away. He's going to be on the road trip with the team. I expect him to be playing by this weekend. Besser is back skating. I think Garland is out tonight. His wife is expecting, I believe.
Oh, just have the baby tomorrow and let him play. Just squeeze tight.
You're not helping out the team here. You got to think of the Canucks.
Thoughts of Nick Kypreos does not reflect Sam McKee.
Yeah, a disclaimer should run under the show for sure.
Okay. We're getting to a firing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
by the way.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, please.
So they lost bad the other night, right? Boston. And then after they said day off, and Jim Montgomery would be available Wednesday. That was the kiss of death right there. When I read that, I said he will not make it till Wednesday.
Oh, really? You feel
yeah.
like that's like a...
Oh, no. That one was that for a day we get to kind of...
Leave us alone.
Leave us alone.
Yeah.
That one was the smoke screen.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like Joe Sacco going to take over as the interim head coach.
Yeah, but
I hate that.
He's not going to keep that.
No, he's not, eh?
No, first of all, they had a chance to make him the head coach, and they passed on him.
Right.
So, if you didn't like him back then, why would you like him now?
I think it's one of my staples of this show is if you had a solution, we could have used it.
Yeah.
By now. Has he been sitting on the answers? Guessing no.
What would you put the over-under on, Joel Quenneville?
Oh, feels very
Possible?
possible.
You think?
No,
No.
Oh, no.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not for this one?
Well,
Oh, the way you just teed it up there.
go.
I was like, okay,
I know.
Joel.
I just,
It
but
was a suicide pass.
I did that to see your reaction.
Yeah, I mean, if they get Joel Quenneville, they'll immediately go on an 18-game winning streak and are the best team in the league again. That's
the
what
only
happens.
thing I think
But-
about with Joel is that whole Mitchell. Remember the Mitchell and
Mason Mitchell. Was it
Mason-
Mason Mitchell? Was that his name?
No.
The
Marvin?
the kid that was like with the awful
Yes.
bullying stuff that now
Yes.
plays in the KHL.
So I don't know. And then there's the questionable Joel Quenneville scenario out of Chicago.
Mitchell Miller.
Mitchell Miller.
Yeah. Would they go to Joel like off of the Mitchell kind of storyline? Like it's
a good point, Kip.
It's
a
just
lot.
they went through a lot with that.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to come and answer questions.
Yeah.
Now, can they do what Edmonton did with Bowman and just take the hit for a day and then move on? Is that what's going to happen?
I think it's different with a coach than it is a general manager. Coach is so much more public facing and so much more forward facing than a general manager. Like, how often does Bowman even talk or whatever? You're talking
on Amazon. I don't think it went awesome.
No, but
with the fan base.
you're going every day. You're going to a new market for a new person to go to practice and start asking questions and bringing attention to it. Like I feel like the general manager is easier to kind of, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, hide than it is to have a forward facing coach that talks to the media every day. Would be my thought on it.
Who do you think it could be, Kip? Do you have any
Todd
suggestion
McClellan.
names? Oh, okay.
Todd
I
McClellan.
really love
That's
that you just
who
came
I've
out with that.
I've got my money on
Yeah.
Like in this season or the start of next?
this season.
Okay.
Buddy, they're 9-10.
They
This
stink.
season, he is
8-9 or whatever they are.
he's rip raring to go.
Is that right? That's interesting.
Can I read you the record of the last two Boston Bruins head coaches?
Yes.
Bruce Cassidy. This is from Jason Greger, friend of the show, on Twitter. 245, 108, and 46 for Bruce Cassidy for a 672 points percentage, 614 winning percentage. And Jim Montgomery was 120, 41, and 23 for a 715 point percentage and a 656 win percentage.
Fired.
Holy
Yeah, I mean,
Tough.
tough crowd.
My God.
He had 2 playoff runs. They won 1 round. They beat the Leafs in
Well,
Game 7
that
OT.
barely counts.
Yeah. And I guess people think that they had higher goals than that. By the way, his first year, they set the record for points in a regular season, 135.
Their roster's not good.
D's pretty good.
The D's okay. That forward course is not good.
In all of this,
They don't get any saves.
Bruins misery. Correct me if I'm wrong, but today they would make the playoffs.
Is that right?
I don't know.
I mean, I will check. But yeah, that could very well be. They are in 4th place in the division. Yeah, they have enough points. Ottawa has a higher winning percentage. Let's see by wild card.
But my point is, they're not.
You are correct. They would be the 2nd wild card spot.
Yes.
As of today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting though, eh?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, they're hanging on for dear life.
they're hanging on for
Yeah.
your life. Rome's burning, but they're still in a playoff spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not too late. That's why you make the change now. That's why if you're the Detroit Red Wings, who are 7-9-2 and are miles.
Ooh, Stevie's
back.
got a tough call.
Is it tough? I mean,
What's
I
so
know
tough about it?
Lalonde's a likable guy and all. Do you see their road trip?
The tough
Kip?
call
They just lost
is-
to Anaheim,
hey,
San Jose, and LA.
The tough call is saying I was wrong.
I was
Oh,
wrong.
well, yeah. I mean, that is a tough call. Actually, I say that every day.
Decent at it.
Like I called
swallowed a few.
on Lee's talk the other night. Like I called that Reese was going to get suspended for 5 games. I must have got 100 messages from people like, "You were right." I'm like, "Thank God you don't message me when I'm wrong."
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, would have 1,000 messages a day.
Yeah.
Oh, Lee.
Yeah. So they went ahead and made the move, and we'll see if that helps fix Boston because it needs to fix the goaltending to fix their winning.
All right.
Sweeney's got to be feeling the heat too, boys. It's an organizational heat feel.
Yeah, that one would probably come at the end of the year.
Well,
after.
obviously that's going to be mid-season, but he's got to be feeling it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, they do.
The Bergeron days are over.
Oh.
All right, 7 games on tap tonight. Pick yours, enjoy it, and we're back tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. If you get a chance, give us a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you. Our thanks to Jason Bukala, Steve Valiquette, and Dr. Jason Smith. Back tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.